Hey everybody, Roman versus with the Squashfest podcast and my co-host.
I got nothing today, the boy hard.
And somehow still managed to get that reaction from me. Today we're going to be reviewing the Raw after WrestleMania, which for most years is supposed to be a spectacle within itself. This episode, I personally feel like did not disappoint. We had a lot of returns, a lot of surprises, and overall, really good show. Uh, how do you feel?
And it happened on Rusev Day.
I'm not dealing with this.
It was a really good show. From start to finish, they didn't disappoint. We said going into the show it was going to be really we were looking forward to two segments. We were looking forward to John Cena and where the future of his progression was going to go, and I kind of said this last week, and they're going to lead into it. And then we were looking forward to what Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman was going to do. And if you had watched, they did WWE is doing this really good thing where they're not. Yes, Pat McAfee works for them, but he also works for ESPN. But they're allowing their stars to go outside of the
Mm-hmm.
traditional programming
Yep.
to continue their storylines. So earlier in the day, Paul Heyman was on Pat McAfee's show, and he kind of laid out why he joined Seth Rollins and turned on Punk and Roman. And it was the traditional things. Roman put his hands on me in front of my wife and emasculated me. I didn't betray him; he betrayed me. And Punk put me in an impossible position. It's not what best friends do. Basically, everything Seth Rollins had said to him beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one, and we're not going to go into the full details of the main event now, but there was one line where one of the guys in Pat McAfee's group asked him, when Seth is not there because he's a dad now and whatever else, are you worried about your well being? There's no who's going to protect you. And Paul Heyman, it's funny the back and forth. Paul Heyman goes, "Do you want to protect me?" And he goes, "I don't want that beef." And Paul Heyman goes, "I need to go shopping then, or then I'll just go shopping,"
Mm-hmm.
which is him alluding to bringing in more people.
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, did he do that last night! Oh god, it was the ending of that show was just really great. All right,
Bananas.
yeah. Um, so we'll get into it. The show kicks off with John Cena, and he's still doing the 17 time. Well, he's a 17-time champion. He's got the side plates. Still doing the no entrance Tron. I thought that was just gonna be a one-time WrestleMania thing, but no. Apparently, we're gonna go black Tron this entire run. And he's cutting a promo, and verbatim, he brings up the fact that the fans owe him an apology. That for years, because of how they treated him, they owe him an apology, and now they don't get to cheer him as champion. So the fans started apologizing.
First, before even that, they were cheering him during WrestleMania. They were cheering
Mm-hmm.
him last night to start as he started speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then to your point, they then started apologizing. And Cena, because again, he just
He's a
became a
heel.
heel, we are not going to turn me back into a face as of yet. He has to get that heat going. So he right away, the veteran that he is, starts turning it around, and he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that they apologized. He says, if you can't hear them at home, they're saying we're not sorry," which then
Yes.
got some boosts from the crowd.
Yeah, because they were literally chanting, "We are sorry."
Yes, I mean,
And
master class from Cena.
absolutely. Um, so after he gets that, he starts talking about, you know why you should be apologizing? Because when I started this whole thing, I told you I was going to be here for 36 dates. That's exactly the amount of dates, not matches, dates. They could mean appearances, they could mean promos. It's not 36 matches, 36 dates. And here's all of the dates you have already wasted on my term. And he's going through the cities, he's going through London, going through Brussels or wherever, all the places. He ends up at Las Vegas, which was last night and the weekend, and he ends up at 27 more dates.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "You have 27 more dates of me, and then I am taking this and I'm going home as the last real champion. And he starts cutting a promo talking about how no one on the roster is as big as him, as strong as him, as fast as him. No one can take it away from him over the next 27 dates. And I had mentioned this to you during the last pod. I think it was a WrestleMania pod when we reviewed it. St. Louis is a home of Backlash. That's this year. Backlash is going to be in St. Louis. St. Louis is Randy Orton's hometown. And we know for Cena's last feud or last run, he's going to want to have matches with guys who defined his career.
Yep.
That's gonna be until eventually he gets to Cody at the end. So Orton slithers out from underneath the ring, comes into the ring, RKO, stands over Cena, grabs the title, puts it at Cena, and then poses. So we're gonna get Orton Cena probably for the last time in St. Louis at Backlash this year. It was a really effective segment. Cena's just doing really great work right now as a heel. He's doing amazing. I've always thought Orton was a better character than Cena. He was always a better wrestler. He's always everything was better on Orton. I'm sorry, I know you're gonna argue that on me, but Orton's always been better. I'm gonna be excited for this match unless they go the route of non-entertaining the fans again. Because if they do that at Backlash like they did at Mania, I might slip my wrist on stream. You're gonna like you're gonna have to find a new co-host for Backlash reactions because that was horrendous.
First off, you're back to trying to get us canceled. That's number one. You can't say stuff like that and not expect to get auto banned. That's number one. Number two, I agree that we're gonna get the Cena Farewell Tour is gonna coincide with all his past opponents and everything, and we're just starting off with Orton, which I think is a great idea. I'd also like to see him against Punk. I'd like to see him against Reigns, but I don't think that one's gonna happen. There's just not enough time left to get everybody. So they're going to be meticulous. So I think they're going to go with the greatest hits. Who knows if he gets Rusev, though? That'd be cool, especially since he just returned.
It'd be cool, but I don't view Rusev as a huge Cena feud. It's Orton Punk. Reigns, he had 2 matches against once as Big Dog and once as Tribal Chief, so I guess you could do Reigns.
I guess. But no, I definitely don't agree with your assessment between Cena and Orton. As athletic and in the ring, yes, Orton is better. But you said as a character. That's where you are definitively wrong. Because part of being your character is what? The mic. Orton's never been good on the mic. He's gotten better.
Always been great on the mic.
No, he has not, and Orton even tells you that. Orton even tells you that. That's the thing. You can't say that when Orton himself has said he didn't prioritize the mic for more than half of his career. He was terrible on the mic, but you want to sit there and say he's always been great on the mic.
I didn't say he's terrible. I said for the character he was.
I said he said he was terrible.
Okay, but I would argue that with him. He was not been terrible when he was Legend Killer Randy Orton. When he was all these things, he didn't need to speak as much. He's never been a guy
because he couldn't. But it's because he couldn't. It's not because they didn't want him to.
He couldn't come out and he's never been able to come out and cut the Cena Punk levels of promo. But he did. But he can still cut promos that were effective. And that's why I'll say he was good on the mic. Not everybody needs to be able to cut a 20-minute.
I didn't say 20-minute. I didn't say a soliloquy either. All I said was that he himself will tell you he was not good on the mic because he did not prioritize the mic stuff, and that's why he probably lost a lot of opportunities. He said, "I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that interview for you. I think it's with Van Vliet, if I remember correctly." But yeah, so in terms of the character, I would say Cena had more of a character than Orton did. Orton, they gave him more gimmicks, but Cena had the better character. And when you're talking about the character itself, it's also about longevity. Cena's always been the same guy, pretty much. Even when it was Thugonomics, it was basically the same package. Rapping, jorts, come into the ring, same 5 moves, character. Now, wrestling wise, I give it to you 1,000%. Randy Orton's the better wrestler, but in terms of character, I wouldn't say that.
I
Continue.
think I think his character work was better than Cena's. Anyways, um,
That's
so yeah, because we
bias.
had a, it's not. It's just Cena was boring for a decade. Um, so really, really effective promo, really effective segment. Like I said, we're gonna get Cena Orton at Backlash, which should be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then we get our first match of the night, and it's a rematch for the women's tag team championships between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez against Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria.
And before
And
this match even started, we were complaining about it from the night before and saying we didn't see the need to take off the titles from Liv and Raquel because they were doing such great work. And Becky and Lyra did not need it. Also, making Lyra a double champion. We didn't see the point in it. I brought up the fact that what if they just take it off of them tonight? And you were like, they're not going to do that, but that would be, I would not be against it. We were both kind of rooting for that. And then they said, hey, that's exactly what we're going to do.
they gave him this. They gave him the Zack Ryder Intercontinental Championship run.
Yep, they made him lose it. In what was a pretty good matchup.
It was a really good match. It was
yeah.
really fun, especially towards the end of the match. Everybody was sitting there, finishes. Raquel hit that Tahana bomb on Lyra from the second rope. Like, I thought that was going to be the finish because you don't not protect somebody's finishing move, especially when you're hitting it from an avalanche style. Liv was going for that Oblivion a lot. Manhandle Sam. So it was really fun. I didn't like the fact that Lyra being double champion and intercontinental champion didn't get her own entrance. Mm-hmm. She came out to Becky's music.
Yep.
Because Becky's the bigger star. I get it. And it kind of plays out towards the end of the segment anyway, because then you get the shocking Becky heel turn, right? So the end of the match sees
Lyra again, during WrestleMania, I said the possibility of her turning heel. And you said, not only did you say no, you said the fans won't allow it.
They did it. You said they were cheering her on the way out.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So you were telling me they weren't going to do it because the fans weren't going to, regardless of what they tried to do, that the fans weren't going to allow it to happen. And then they again said, that's exactly what we're going to do.
So the finish of the match sees Raquel take out Lyra on the outside and distract Becky. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. Raquel took out Becky on the outside and distract Lyra, and then after like attempt number 7, Liv finally hits the Oblivion to get the pinfall on Lyra, while Becky can't get into the ring fast enough to break up the pinfall. And Liv makes it. I love Liv Morgan. She's so good at her character work right now. She's outside the ring, just screaming and yelling, 4 times, we're champion. she's doing amazing work. And Becky slithers into the ring. You get the babyface hug. And I was in the arena for this when Becky turned on Charlotte in SummerSlam 2018 in Barclays. It reminded me of that. So when she hugged Lyra, I thought we were going to get a Lyra turn because I still couldn't see the returning Becky Lynch turning heel. So she hugs Lyra, and then she hits her with the clothesline, and Lyra's shocked face she gave up no fight. Yeah. She was just like, she was like it would be like if Daniel San got beat down by Mr. Miyagi.
Wow.
For those of you under the age of 20, that's a Karate Kid reference, not Cobra Kai. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it was. She hit her. She hit her with a manhandle slam. She left. She was leaving the ring. She hit her with a second manhandle slam. She got to the ramp, and the crowd starts chanting one more time.
And you see her. She's just like, yeah, no,
sure,
you're right.
I'll give them what they want.
Yeah.
But during this entire time, during the beatdown, especially between the second and third manhandle slams, Lyra gets up and positions herself on the bottom rope. Like she's laying there. She could have gotten up and defended herself. but she did it. She's so shocked that her mentor, her fellow Irish woman, is turning and beating her down that she just accepts it.
Mm-hmm.
So she hits her with a third manhandle slam. She leaves. You get the Becky heel turn again. The fans cheered this again because they tried this in 2018, trying to turn Becky heel, and no one will accept it. They're going to turn her babyface again. I don't know what they're going to figure. What Hunter's going to do when this crowd starts cheering her promos again, because they're not going to turn Lyra. Like that's not a thing. Even though I thought they should have.
It might have given her character more depth. Maybe she could have
Yeah,
left the eagle
the
wings
Valkyrie,
or
the eagle.
whatever, the wings, left them at home and stuff. No, I get what you were.
Mm-hmm.
I get the thought process behind it, but yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be good. Instantly, I'm a little more interested in Lyra
Yes,
because
because
now
now
I
she
want
actually
to
has a feud.
exactly, and now I want to see what that's gonna play out like. And she still has the title.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So does that mean Becky goes for the title? Does she get over on Becky, which would be great for her? Does she not? And now Becky came back and now she's Intercontinental Champion. That'd be dope. So that's what I said, and it adds to her resume. So it for me now it's more compelling the Lyra story. Now my question is, did Becky jump her?
Did
Because
Becky jump Bailey?
did Becky jump Bailey? Because as of right now, my what I see is Becky came back. She, Lyra cost them the match, so she jumped Lyra, right? Because she wanted to be tag champions. Cool. But the question is, did she set everything in motion beforehand as well? Or did somebody
She
else jump Bailey?
she could have, but I for some reason feel like that's going to be an article of the story that WWE just drops. I don't think we're ever going to find out who jumped Bailey. Because again, we talked about this before. It's a copy and paste of the other
No, yeah,
storyline,
yeah,
the
100%.
The Jade Naomi Bianca storyline, right?
100%. And that's when I brought it up that I didn't want to I didn't want her to turn. When I was bringing up the fact maybe she turns,
Yeah,
I was saying I didn't want because it's literally the same story given to us again just a few months later. So
yeah.
I agree to your point. It might be something that they completely drop. I hope not. But I think it would be really cool to find out that Becky had nothing to do with Bailey getting jumped, and it's actually another person, and then set Bailey up in that direction.
I mean, you can keep Bailey off TV for a month or two if they're really just if she's really not hurt. You keep her off TV for a month or two, have Becky win that title, and then do a Bailey Becky feud if you're going to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
And they fight for the Intercontinental Championship, which automatically elevates one of your newer championships because now you have two of the greatest women and the best women of the last 10 years fighting for a mid card title.
Mm-hmm.
So you can elevate the title that way. But I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'm still salty about them taking Bailey off the WrestleMania. I don't care. I was just like, that's Bailey.
Which is
I love
understandable.
Bailey.
Which is understandable because she's a workhorse. And
Yeah.
you brought it up yesterday. I didn't like the comment that Triple H made either.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you told me that basically they asked him about it essentially, and he just said Bailey's a professional.
He's almost dismissive of her and of her feelings. He's like, Bailey's a true pro, should be fine.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but that's not the point. Even if she's a true pro and is going to do everything for your company, she's still the foundational piece of your women's division. She's the one who's there all the time. She's the Seth Rollins of the women's division. She's
Agreed.
always there. She
Yep.
does everything for you. She puts other people over. You should reward her with a match on WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just disrespectful. All right, so then we get the New Day, the new Day
The new
coming out.
day.
The new Day coming out to the ring. Um, they looked great as heels. I said last night I didn't like the fur on Kofi,
Mm-hmm.
but thinking it back, they're really playing up this we're superstars gimmick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Woods came out and black jeans, black jean jacket, but with like shiny diamonds all over it. Kofi Kingston came out in a pink fur jacket that looked like one of the leis that Hollywood Hulk Hogan would have worn in 1997. Like they looked great. So they're in the ring. They're cutting a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, call it saying we're the greatest tag team of all time. It was they didn't have a lot of time to talk before Alpha Academy came out and not attacked them and challenged them for a match.
Mm-hmm.
Maxine looked great last night. I love the fact that they're in New York Knicks colors. Say that every time they wear orange and blue, but they look great last night. She comes out. She goes, "The last time you guys had a match against my boys, you guys lost in 60 seconds. So would you two Minutemen like to put your titles on the line against Tozawa and Otis?" First, the New Day said, "No, we're not doing that. There's no reason for us." But then when she keeps needling them, calling them Minutemen, they agreed to the tag team championship match. Get a referee out here. So the referee comes out, he sprints out, he gets into the ring, and immediately the lights go dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, we're getting a debut. I didn't know who it was going to be. Rusev comes back looking jacked to the gills, leaner, huge, neutron, almost like a breaker thing because it had like broken glass behind the name of Rusev. New music. And he gets into the ring. The New Days take a powder. They run away. And he destroys Alpha Academy. He looked great. I'm really excited for Rusev being back. I've always thought that they dropped the ball on him the first time when they squashed him to Cena 3 times. And when he had a small little, he had a run in AEW. He was TNT champion. He beat Darby Allin for that title, and then they dropped the ball with him. I don't know why these companies can't see that this guy is money. You know what Rusev could have been to me if they would not have dropped the ball with him the first time.
Mm.
What they did with Gunther for the last year.
Okay,
That
I
is
see
Rusev.
that. I see that.
The foreign heels, super strong, dominant. Like that's what Rusev should have been on the main roster the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted the foreign heel versus the All American Good Boy thing, and Rusev didn't get one win over Cena. And then for some reason, for the rest of Rusev's main roster run, he was relegated to mid card in the comedy act.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just did nothing with it. Hopefully, Hunter sees the star that Miro is, and he'll come in and he'll really push him to where I think he got, because Rusev is a great worker. He's got the look, and he's funny. If you actually listen to Rusev is a funny dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's got charisma. I want to see him pushed towards the main event level. I know it's going to take a little while to rebuild him up, but I want to see him get elevated.
I agree with all your points. I right when the lights went off, I was like, "This is Rusev, isn't it?" And the only thing that threw me off, and I understand why they did it, was why he's coming out at that moment in time. Why he's coming out during a tag team moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, I'm like, what is the play here? Is he coming with someone? Like I thought maybe somebody was gonna debut right with him. That didn't happen. I understand why they did it, because he needed to just come in and destroy. You know what I mean? And of course, you're gonna give him the jobbers. So, so you gave him, yeah. He looks super dominant. The fact that he just steamrolled right through Otis like he was nothing.
Absolutely.
And Otis is a big man. You know what I mean? So he looked great. He looked amazing. And yeah, I'm equally excited. And then, this week we're getting Aleister Black. So it's nice to see some of these guys coming back. And hopefully, to your point, Paul Levesque knows how to book them, because that's the only issue. It's not their capabilities. They're good on the mic. They're good performers. It's frankly, what are we going to do with them story-wise? But I have faith. They've been able to do good things, and even when they're semi-dropping the ball, the only place that they've really been dropping the ball at was the tag division, and they're starting to pick that up too now. So
yeah.
So hopefully they get this right this time.
Yeah. So then we get Iyo Sky's promo. Love Iyo Sky. I absolutely love Iyo Sky.
Love Iyo Sky.
I don't need her cutting a 4-minute promo in English. Like I understand what she was trying to do. She's trying to connect with the fans. She's trying to speak their language. She's gotten better at learning the language, but it still comes off like This is why Vince didn't give. I mean, besides the fact that it's Vince, but he didn't give promo time to foreign wrestlers, right? It's just, it was bad. She goes, "Thank you, I love you. I am the women's world champion. I beat Rhea. I beat Bianca. I beat two of the best. Now I am the best." Like, what? This you can't like let her in ring ability and her charisma when she's wrestling get her over. I don't need her cutting promos because that's not what she's going to be good at. Because obviously she can't communicate with the with the fans in a way that's going to talk people into the seats. And then Triple H said, "We're going to give the fans a really great match, but we're going to double down on the nonsensical English promos." And they brought in Stephanie Vaquer, and I love Stephanie Vaquer. Amazing wrestler, really, really good, really great look. NXT Women's Champion. It was a great pop for the crowd because obviously the NXT's talent was there for Stand and Deliver for the weekend. We get Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer in a babyface champion versus champion match, non-title obviously. These two girls put on an intense, really great show, and I love the fact that Iyo, they're both really great wrestlers, and been saying this for a while. Iyo is probably the best wrestler in the entire company right now, but they gave Stephanie a lot of time to shine in that match.
Mm-hmm.
She looked really great in that match, and it's kind of a tryout as well. They're putting her in front of the big crowd and saying, "We're going to put you on Raw after Mania. Let's see how you do against our number one person and see if you can command the crowd and see if you get over with the crowd." And she did. She was really great. It was a really great match. She hit her little Booker T thing. She went for the SVP a couple times. Essentially, at the end, and you had called this. Well, I said it's going to be it's going to be a DQ. Somebody's going to come out because you don't want either of these two women to lose.
Yep.
I thought it would have been somebody to set up Iyo's next feud, though, not to promote tonight's match on NXT. And so Roxanne Perez, who's going to be a superstar in this company, she's 23 years old, she's a prodigy, she's all this stuff. She's on that level. She's going to be on that level of workers in the ring when we talk about the great workers in this company. She comes out, she blasts Iyo, and she just looks at Stephanie and smiles. And Stephanie's like, "Why did you do this?" And Stephanie goes to attack her. Julia. So we're doubling down on the NXT. Julia comes out. And Julia's a superstar everywhere around the world. I felt like when her and Stephanie debuted so close together, Stephanie kind of outshined her on NXT. So Julia comes out, she attacks, and you get the beat down by Roxanne and Julia against Stephanie and Iyo. They're beating them down, and then Rhea Ripley's music hits, and Rhea sprints to the ring, and she clears the ring of the heels. We have a great face-to-face between Julia and Rhea, and Michael Cole goes, "This could be a match I'm really excited for in the future." You planting the seeds, trying to tell people Julia's a big deal. Right? You give her that moment. And Iyo gets up. And Rhea grabs the Women's World Championship, and she hands it to Iyo. But before letting it go, she mouths to her, and you can read lips, she said, "I'm still coming for this." And she powders out of the ring, she leaves, and Iyo, and I said this again, moments like that, Iyo needs to not smile. Because she started to smile because she's having fun and she knows it's going to be a good match, but then she immediately started trying to be serious. She is too, you'll see it when other people are coming to the ring, when she should be getting psyched up for her match, she'll just be smiling all the time during the other person's entrance. And I'm just like, yo, you need to be more aggressive sometimes. That's my big takeaway with Iyo Sky. You're the super baby face. You want everybody to love you, but can we not be playful all the time? I need you to be angered sometimes. I need you to portray anger more.
My turn.
But that's it. That's what I got. Yes.
Okay. That's a you problem on everything you said. Number one, the promos don't bother me. I like the promos. I especially, again, as a Hispanic, When I have my Hispanic wrestlers talking half English, half Spanish, I'm good with it. It doesn't bother me. Same thing with Iyo. I think it adds a level of authenticity. I don't need her to give a whole spiel, a whole thing. No, it's simple. Exactly how you put it. I beat Rhea. I beat Bianca. I'm the best now. That's
It's
it. I don't
painful to
need.
watch.
It's not painful. It's painful for you, and we know why that is. But my point is I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the match. The match was fantastic. They were putting on a banger,
hmm hmm
something that you would expect between two of the best in the business right now. It sucks that again you called it right off rip, and you were just like, this is they're not gonna want to have either one of them lose, so we're gonna
hmm
probably get a DQ. We just didn't know who it was or what was gonna happen. Um, so when it did happen, we weren't shocked. But I didn't expect when Roxanne. I knew Roxanne was gonna pop up, but I did not expect Julia to come out of nowhere. I didn't expect that second person to
hmm
come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I thought Roxanne was enough, and it made sense because Roxanne was there in previous weeks. She keeps popping up now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Onto main roster. So I was like, oh, okay. And then on top of that, we knew something like that was going to happen because it's after WrestleMania and we're going to get a bunch of call ups. So that's why
Yeah.
I figured something like this was going to happen. And I figured Roxanne because she kept popping up. But then when Julia popped up, that's what really, I was just like, wait, what is happening? And then they're helping each other. That threw me
Yes.
off.
So if you watch NXT, like I said, tonight's match is Roxanne versus Stephanie for the title. Roxanne has been doing double duty a little bit. She's kind of like when Braun Breaker was coming up, but still feuding for the NXT championship,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a soft call up. They put her on Raw, SmackDown if you need her,
Mm-hmm.
or set her back down to NXT. So she's going to be coming up to full time soon.
Yeah.
And then Julia turned heel on Stephanie after their match at Madison Square Garden. Not after them, not at Madison Square Garden, but she came back and attacked her to set up the Stand and Deliver match because they were supposed to be friends and she never got her one-on-one return match. So she attacked Stephanie. So after Roxanne moves on, I think you'll see Stephanie Julia really get into their feud before either one of them get called up to main roster later this year. So they were planting a lot of seeds last night for a lot of future stuff. How do you feel about Rhea again being in the World Championship picture a night after WrestleMania?
I don't know if she's necessarily in the world heavyweight picture, only because she was coming to save her friend, which is what she said when she first
She
entered the
she
ring.
pointed at she pointed at Stephanie, said that's my friend. Yeah.
Not Stephanie. She was pointing at Iyo.
No, she pointed at Stephanie
No,
and she goes, "That's my friend."
we're gonna watch it back because I guarantee you it was Iyo.
I don't think it was. I think it was Stephanie because they had a friendship thing on NXT for a little bit.
Oh, we're gonna watch it back. Either way, so she's saying, that's my friend, this, that, and the third. She comes to protect them. That could have been a one-off. She could be saying for the future, I'm gonna come after that, not necessarily immediately. Although I'm more inclined to believe what you're saying and take it as though she's gonna. And if she is right off rip again this feud, I don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to see it. I want her to go off and do something else. And I don't want to say it like I said it about Bianca, but
I still need that clip. I still need that clip. You were super disrespectful.
I was not. I just they need to figure something else out for them. Um, I don't know. Go feud with Becky. Becky just got here. Go do something like that. I don't need them in the title picture. Let's give more opportunities to up and comers.
We had a Becky Rhea feud last year at Mania. I don't want to see that again either. This is the problem. Like to your point, Rhea and Bianca have been such mainstays in the women's division for I don't know 5 years now that they've kind of done everything and feuded with everybody at this point. So you're rehashing a lot of old things if you keep them in that championship in that championship picture. You can't do Liv Rhea again. You did that for a full year. You
Yeah.
can't do Rhea Charlotte again. You did that twice. You can't do like. Eventually, I think the story is we're gonna get a full year build to get a singles match between Rhea and Bianca, and we'll do that next year at Mania. But we have to buy time beforehand. One of them is going to win a title at some point this year. One of them is going to defend the title against the other one at Mania. But what do you do with them between now and then? And it's a lot of time. You're gonna have a lot of new women coming up from NXT. You already have some women you need to showcase. Um, it's a good problem to have when you have that much talent, but it's a bad problem when you have to try to figure out where to disperse TV time for all this talent.
And that's why we need a fourth show.
No. 17 hours of wrestling in 3 days, bro. No. Absolutely not. All right. So then we get what we both agreed. Greatest segment of the evening. The championship celebration for one, Joshua Fatu, also known as Jey Uso. So, Jey Uso comes out to...
Don't draw this out.
You don't want me to draw it out as long as the promo was?
No, sir.
All right, so we'll make this 2 minutes long. Jey Uso comes to the ring, gets into the ring, starts thanking the fans.
Half an hour later, start right.
They had a really good intro promo showing Jey Uso, his journey from FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, all the way to the main event of WrestleMania. That was really good. Don't know why they picked Macklemore for the song. That's another thing altogether. But Jey Uso comes out to the ring, thanks the fans, talks about I couldn't have done this without you. I'm the world heavyweight champion. Da 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 da. Sami Zane's music hits. Sami came out looking like his mom dressed him for an interview. He had on the generic $3 button up from Walmart, bro.
Let's move on.
Oh, sorry. Sami Zayn comes out, cuts promo, tells Jey Uso how proud he is of him. You're my brother, you're my Uso, this stuff. You deserve this. They hug. They start eating for 5 minutes. We thought the segment was over. Jimmy Uso's music hits. He runs out to the ring. He hugs the both of them. They all start eating for another 3 minutes, and then this segment was it had to be at least 15 minutes.
I feel
it felt like it was longer.
Yeah,
it felt like it was longer, but it had to be at least 15 minutes of just Jey Uso celebrating with the fans. No storyline progression. No what we're gonna do with him afterwards. Just thank you, Jey. Here's the championship. Celebrate with Jimmy and Sammy, and then we're all gonna leave.
You could have cut that out the show.
You could have
100%,
or cut it in half. You want to get the Jey Uso pop with the crowd, right? You want to get that, right? This didn't need to be 15 minutes.
Or at least he could have came out with his brother. He could have came out with his brother. You already cut the extra 5 minutes off of that, him coming to the ring and so on and so forth. You have him come out with his brother and then have Sammy, and then you just have them all celebrate right then and there. But you gave us 14 different celebrations in between that one massive just give us one. The main coming in and then before they leave, yeet. That's it. What was the purpose? No, they literally were just nah, we need to draw this out. And they didn't. I feel like it was they wanted the moment, even though they just got the moment at WrestleMania. They wanted it a second time for some reason. That's it.
They wanted the Sammy moment with them, and I get it. But again, could have been half the length. Didn't need to be this long.
Yep.
So then coming out of commercial break, we get an angry Gunther. And that's my other take. These MFers were just celebrating in the ring for 15 minutes.
You you came after they left. I would have had him come out and beat everybody down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something.
Instead he picks a fight with announcers.
Yeah, he comes out and he starts yelling at Michael Cole because Michael Cole's doing his job and saying, hey, he's like, Michael Cole, do you not respect me? I was champion for this many days. Da, 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 da. Michael Cole's like, it's my job to call the match the way I see it. It's my job. And Michael Cole goes, don't be mad at me because you tapped out.
Yeah.
And which really incensed Gunther. Gunther puts Michael Cole in a headlock, chokehold. Pat McAfee comes over, forearm blasts Gunther in the back of the head. And So we immediately think we're going to get Gunther, Pat McAfee at Backlash,
Hmm.
right? So they're planting the seeds for that. On replays, I saw it afterwards. I didn't see as it was happening how quickly security was out there to get between everybody beforehand.
Hmm.
Because when Pat McAfee turns and Gunther puts him in the chokehold, security's already there.
Yeah.
Jason Jordan's already there.
Yeah.
Gregory Helms, Shane Helms is already there. So it's like Pat Buck. All the security guys are already there,
Hmm.
and I know why they did it because it clicked in me afterwards. I asked you, did Pat smarten up his crew who was sitting ringside, the Pat McAfee show crew?
Yeah.
And they had to have told them what was going to happen, so that way security was already in position to hold them back as Pat McAfee's getting choked out. So that makes more sense on looking back at the replays. Yeah, they're already there. They know that what's going to happen. Um, it was uncomfortable how long Gunther had Pat McAfee in this chokehold. He chokes out Pat McAfee. That seemed like it was a 5-minute choke. Pat sold it really well. He turned all types of shades of purple.
I was gonna say sold it very well. He exaggerated because then he started coughing up a lung like he couldn't breathe, and then the amount of time from getting from the ring to the back,
To the
it
judges
was
room,
it was ridiculously long, and then he kept
yep.
stopping, and he kept.
He had to sell the fact that Gunther's chokehold is devastating.
You could have done that in a lot less time,
I
a
thought he was
lot
gonna
less
puke on
time.
camera.
Yeah, because the way he kept coughing,
Uh huh.
like what was that about? Anyways,
He looked like me on a Saturday morning after too many drinks of Wild Turkey
I
101.
can't. A lot of that was just super unnecessary to me, but it's whatever. It's we followed an unnecessary segment with a lot of unnecessary extra to another segment. It's fine, but what was that? A half an hour,
Between the two segments, that would be about half an hour.
45 minutes of garbage. Which, besides the fact that the rest of the show was really good. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because even the next match, Dominik Mysterio and Penta put on a banger.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
So it was like this one, this whole thing, this is the lull, right there in the center. This is where you could have walked away, made a Sammy, and then came back, ate it, and then still not looked at the screen, and they still wouldn't have. Pat would have been choking by the time I finished my sandwich, and and I could have played on my phone. like this man just took seriously. He took so long selling that. It was. I hated it. I
and to
hated it.
me, it's a little thing, and I know why Michael Cole would do it in character. But during the Dom Mysterio match, to have Michael Cole continue to ask for an update on Pat McAfee was distracting to me. It's like, hey, Michael Cole, you just told Adam Pearce, I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to go do my job. I'm not going to get bullied out of my job position. But you're not paying attention to the match. You're not doing your job. You're checking on Pat McAfee. They brought out Joe Tessitore to be to be Michael Cole's second,
I
and
thought it
Joe
was
Tessitore
dope that he was still getting dressed because again,
100%. He wasn't ready.
yeah, story wise, he was not prepared to be there that night and to fill in. I
And
thought that
I,
was dope.
and you needed a play-by-play guy to actually call the match if Pat McAfee was going to be over here checking on his buddy instead of paying attention. So I
Michael
understand.
Cole.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yes, Michael Cole, not Pat
and,
McAfee.
and I and I
Yeah,
agree, and I agree. There was too much. He just kept rehashing the same thing.
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if something like that happened to us in real life,
Oh, absolutely.
1,000% you're gonna keep rehashing. But
I wouldn't, if it were real life, I wouldn't go back to work. Like, screw this.
100%.
Like,
100%.
it's WWE. They got like 12 interns in the back that they're probably training to do play by play. Put them on TV. like,
You're not wrong.
like
I
you
don't
telling
know.
me that the NXT guys couldn't have come in like Vic Joseph or Booker T's not in the back and couldn't just get them on?
And it's not
Like,
like Michael Cole didn't get choked too.
yeah, exactly.
So I would have just kept them both off. No, I agree with your point. That makes perfect sense. But I don't know. They decided to do that, and then the entire match, he just kept
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. And he's like, "I'm not gonna let him bully me off of this. I'm gonna do my
Yeah,
job." Blah, blah, blah. And then to your point, he kept asking, "How's Pat doing? Is there any word on Pat?" And I'm just like, the one time was cool, but then he
yeah,
kept doing it, and I was just
yeah,
like, "Okay, stop."
yeah. So, all right, then we get Dominik Mysterio in his first Intercontinental Championship match defense against Penta.
The
He's
night
asked for
after,
the night after.
super disrespectful.
I'm okay with those happening, but only, and I understand why they didn't do Braun, and we'll get into that later. But usually, the night on Raw after Mania, you want to get those rematches out of the way, right? So in traditional story sense, this would have been Braun versus Dom for the title,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you don't also want to do that because you already did it earlier in the night with Liv and Raquel versus Becky, and so you don't want to do multiple rematches on the same night. And I get that. They set a really good match, and the crowd cheered Dom. He came out with all of the members of the Judgment Day. Um, Finn was kind of walking behind them as they were all celebrating Dom to the ring, because now you have Dom with the championships, you had Liv and Raquel with the championships, and they were front and center. Finn was kind of walking behind them because he's still uneasy about taking the back seat to Dominik Mysterio.
Which we skipped that segment earlier in the
Oh, in the
back.
back, yeah.
In the back when everybody was celebrating that Dom came away with the win. Finn walks in, looking pissed. Liv right away jumped in between them. She was like, it doesn't
Super
matter who.
nervous.
Yeah, she was like, it doesn't matter who got the belt so long as it stays in the clubhouse, right? And then Finn just hit him with the, yeah, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, brother. Blah 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 blah. And
Yeah.
then so we know they're cool.
Yes, but coming out of that segment, they panned to Finn, and he was just staring at the title.
Yep.
As they left that segment. So
Yep.
we know, even though he's saying we're cool, he's not cool with this.
At
He's
all.
not cool with it at all. Dom being a singles champion, he's not. Um. So they have a really good match. Dom's playing up the baby face thing again because he's getting cheered by the crowd. How can you not love Dominik Mysterio? He's doing such great work. Um, he's wrestling more like a luchador. He had a Michinoku driver. He had 619. He hit Hurricane runs. He's wrestling more like a luchador. That official turn is coming later. One spot, Finn didn't interfere in the match because he's not helping Dom. But one spot, Penta, as Finn went to go check on Dom, Penta hit Finn with a Hurricane Runner from the ring apron to outside. And I'm like, why did he do that? Finn didn't interfere. Finn didn't do anything. Why is the babyface just attacking? He's just checking on his friend.
Well,
Didn't make any sense.
Well, when you said that, because I was gonna chime in when you had mentioned that, he checks on him, but then he kind of does this like he was going to go. He was looking to go do something. So, babyface Penta just jumped the gun.
Yeah.
That's what it was. He was like, I know you're thinking about it. I'm not gonna let you do anything to help.
I guess. Okay. I got it. I guess. Really fun match. Towards the end, JD McFunko Pop makes his return. So Penta's setting up on the top rope for something. Dom's on the floor. McDonough comes out of the crowd, pulls Penta off the top rope. He hits the top. He hits the ropes, and Dom drop kicks him into a 619 position. Hits the 619, and then hits the frog splash. You have to use the amalgam of both my daddy's moves to get the win. Finn super pissed or super confused, more like it, when he saw JD come and help Dom win. Because as everybody again is celebrating, Finn is like, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that JD was coming back. I didn't know anything. And JD's his guy. JD is the guy who Finn trained in real life. That's his guy.
Yep.
For him to come and help Dom, and then Finn is feeling some sort of way, is also really good storytelling. Like, everybody's super happy for the young kid who's the Intercontinental Champion, and you have the vet who's here like, let's not give him so much of a big head because he's champ.
Yep.
So.
Overall, no, that was a super great match, and I love what they're doing. I told you, I was like, either one of two things is gonna happen. Either it automatically, when Dominik pins Finn, it's gonna call the end of the Judgment Day, or they're just gonna continue to just draw this out, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're drawing it out. They want to milk it for everything it's worth, basically.
It reminds me too much of Finn and Damien. That's my only takeaway from this. It's very similar to last year when the Judgment Day was breaking down, right? Finn was upset that Damian cost him his world title matches against Seth previously. And then when Damian won the world title, Finn was like, why do I need to respect you as world champion? You cost me my shots at the championship, and now I have to view you as a leader because you're champ. It's too to me the stories are too similar to really get excited for it. I mean, I love Finn. I love Dom. I think their eventual match and breakdown is going to be epic. But we're rehashing storylines
Yeah.
in that same group,
Yeah.
and it's just like how WWE has 72 and a half bookers or 72 and a half writers in that role. Can we figure something else out
Yeah.
for them?
I get you.
Like,
I think it'll be amazing when one of them leaves and then that's the insta feud. I think that's when
yeah,
we'll pick it up.
I agree. And then
When you blow it up, how do you blow it up though?
I think Finn has to do something violent.
No. But I mean in the sense of who goes with who.
I think Dominik Mysterio eventually, when he turns babyface, is going to be a solo act. I don't think Liv. I think you just blow it up and everybody's by themselves. I think you might do Finn and JD and like a quasi alliance if you're going to keep Finn as a single star. You already have Liv and Raquel as a tag team. They can continue doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with Carlito.
That's what I was going to say.
Unless Carlito's just going to be Dominic's friend and second and whatever.
That I can see.
Yeah,
because you see he's like super for Dom.
Yeah, 100%. So you just split them off into 3 separate like duos. And I don't know if you want to do Finn and JD as a full-time tag team because Finn's too big for a full-time tag team. But you can interweave them between singles runs and tag team feuds. So that way it doesn't get too stale for them.
Copy.
All right. So then we get Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. Set suit, beautiful. Head to toe in yellow, sequins, gorgeous. Paul Heyman, little touches on Paul Heyman. Not red tie, not red thing. He had his everything to match Seth Rollins' suit, which is really great. They get into the ring, and Rollins does his I'm a revolutionary, I'm a visionary. But this was not traditional flamboyant the way he was saying it. He was very subdued. I am a revolutionary. I am a visionary. Trying to be more serious with it to tell him, hey, I'm smarter than everybody else. He was healing it up. I took a wise man from Roman Reigns. I stole CM Punk's best friend, and I am the winner of the WrestleMania main event. Little small takeaway. I wish he would have said WrestleMania Night 1 main event. Because then you had the other main event. You had Cena and Cody Night 2. It doesn't have to just thing for me.
Your preference. Yeah.
My preference. I wish he would have said I was the winner of Night 1 main event WrestleMania.
Okay.
Seth turns over. Oh no, that's so before Heyman could even say anything, because Heyman gets the mic and tries to talk. Before Heyman can even say anything, CM Punk's music hits.
Mm-hmm.
Punk hits the ring. Punk doesn't cut a promo. Punk's pissed. You can see him. He's already wrapping the tape on his hands to fight. He gets in the ring. Punk and Rollins start fighting. Punk gets him into the corner, starts stomping him out. Gets the better of Rollins. Turns to Heyman. Pie faces Heyman into the corner before Rollins gets to Punk, knocks him down, hits him with a GTS eventually, and they stand over Punk, and the crowd starts chanting OTC, and we both said Roman's not coming out.
Yeah, he's not coming out.
He's not here. He's not coming out. The WWE did the great thing of playing the credits, the Netflix credits, while they were standing over Punk, so we thought the show was over.
Yep.
Roman's music hits after the credits stop.
Dun, dun, dun. Yep.
He sprints to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He hits Rollins with a spear.
Mm-hmm.
He turns to Heyman, hits Heyman with a Superman punch.
Mm-hmm.
Takes his shirt off, goes into the corner, and I'm like, there's no way they are letting the
Roman.
Penguin take a spear. They're not letting Paul Heyman take a spear. So he starts running, and again, out of nowhere, hooded Braun Breaker, spear out of nowhere. And I popped. I'm just like, oh God, Heyman was shadow foretelling tonight on Pat McAfee early in the day.
Yep.
So Breaker hits a spear on Roman. Breaker goes to the corner, looks at Seth. They look like they're about to fight. Punk gets up, runs past Rollins, hits Punk with a spear.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins looks at him. He goes, "That's my boy. That's my." And he hugs him. He goes, and he hugs him. And he's looking at him. And Braun looked like $1,000,000.
What I loved about this was the fact that you had called Seth and Heyman. And if you
Mm-hmm,
recall, when they were planting that seed, I called Braun Breaker and Heyman.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and
we both ended up right.
yeah,
That's crazy.
I mean, it elevates Breaker to the main event without putting him to face Jey Uso right away,
Yep.
and it has him because weeks ago it was reported that Heyman was working with Braun in the backstage to help him with his promos and everything else. So you get his next version of Brock Lesnar in a sense, right?
Yeah.
This jacked young dude who maybe needs a little bit of guidance,
Yep.
and people have been making the argument right now. This is a online this you have your Triple H and now you have your Batista.
Yeah.
Is Paul Heyman going to look forward and get a third guy? I'll talk about that. I think I know who a third guy could be really well for them. But so Roman's on the outside. Breaker goes to attack him. Roman hits him with an uppercut, and then Roman positions himself perfectly for Breaker to run all the way around the ring and hit the spear through the barricade, which was an amazing spot.
Mm-hmm.
He rolls Roman into the ring under Seth's instruction. He goes roll that SOB into this ring. So he rolls him into the ring, and he hits stomps on both Punk and Roman.
But he tells
To
them,
go
he's
off the
like,
air.
watch what's about to happen to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, he made Roman watch
Yeah.
him stomping Punk, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
an amazing thing. So that was really dope. It was a really good night. It was a really great way to end the night. Paul Heyman is putting together a stable of guys again.
Mm-hmm.
If he's getting another guy, like let's say he gets a trio and then him, I have a name in my mind who I think would be a perfect fit. Who do you think a third guy for Paul Heyman's new stable should be?
I haven't thought of anybody at all.
Austin Theory.
Ooh. Because he's not doing anything.
He's not doing anything. He's been loosely associated with Seth in the past when he was the Monday Night Messiah. He's a 26-year-old stud who just might need that little bit of guidance from Paul Heyman. And then you're creating, and then Triple H can start to really create his new version of Evolution, Paul in the role of Ric Flair. Like, it could be really dope to see those guys because now you're getting Seth in that role, and he's giving the rub to what they view as the future of WWE.
I like it. I could easily see that.
Yeah.
And again, Austin maybe just to your point needs that one little push. And we were talking about it. The reason why I even brought up Breaker with Heyman and you brought up Seth with Heyman was the fact that these are guys who are really good in the ring, super talented, who should be rising stars, which they are. But they just need that one little push. And Heyman, with what he's done in the past for CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, what he's been able to do for them, he can easily do for these guys, and they're well deserved. Austin Theory might be that guy that could definitely benefit as well. I like that pick.
Yeah, they need to do something with him.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna come up with my own in a bit. I just need to think about
there's
it.
there's plenty of guys on that roster who could really utilize Paul Heyman. He's just the guy that came to mind, and I'm just like I've always thought he's been a really great.
And no, you're
wrestler.
absolutely right because this guy is Triple H reincarnated.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker can't play the Batista role because he's the monster, the beast, the machine.
Pause.
And
Mhm.
then what?
No, so I was getting ready for the thumbnail, and don't worry about
Oh,
it.
and then Austin Theory could be the Randy Orton, but now I got to think of
Yeah.
another Randy Orton. I got you. But
There
yeah,
are plenty.
overall, really good show.
Mhm.
Again, the only lull was the Jey Uso and the Gunther thing, but other than that, the rest of it was really, really well done. Really great show. Super surprises. I can't wait till SmackDown because I feel like Raw gave us everything we would expect from a Raw after Mania.
Mhm.
I want to see what SmackDown does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially I want to see how Alistair how they play him back in.
Hopefully they don't turn him into a vampire like instead. Um.
Facts.
Anyway, like he was always, like I said, he was always a mystical person in NXT. Yes, he came up on the thing in NXT, but then when they put him on main roster, and Vince is like, "Oh, he's like Dracula. We're gonna have the wood creak during his entrance." I'm just like, "What? Like, what are you doing? That was an unnecessary addition." like, there's just like Vince's mind, man. Like he's brilliant wrestling mind, one of the greatest wrestling promoter and booker in the history of wrestling. But towards the end, and not even the end of his life because he's still alive, but towards the end of his booking reign, it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Who you need an oversight. You
Yeah.
used to oversee other people. You need people to tell you, no, this isn't a good idea anymore.
Yeah. I got you.
Alrighty. That's I think that's what we call it. I got nothing else.
All right. On that note, we thank you guys for watching. Thank you as always for participating with us and commenting, following, subscribing. Our channels are growing little by little, and
Mhm.
we hope to continue that growth. So we thank you guys for everything. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.